I thought Halloween was supposed to be fun, but after what happened at my parents' house in Austin last year, I can't even look at our front porch without feeling sick. So this happened last October when I went back home to help my parents hand out candy. I'm a junior at UT now, but I grew up in this quiet neighborhood near Barton Hills. Nothing ever happens there. Like, the most exciting thing is when Mrs. Chen's dog gets loose and poops in someone's yard. Anyway, I got there around 6. My mom made her usual chili that's way too spicy, and my dad was already complaining about how much candy we bought. He always says we buy too much, but then he eats half of it himself while watching football. The trick-or-treaters started coming around 7. Normal stuff at first. Cute kids dressed as superheroes and princesses. My mom kept saying, "Oh my goodness," at every costume because that's what she does. Around 9, most of the families had cleared out. Just teenagers now, the ones who barely put effort into costumes and just want free candy. That's when I noticed him. This guy walked past our house. Nothing weird about that, right? Except he wasn't with any kids. He was just walking, slowly. He had on jeans and a gray hoodie. No costume, no bag, nothing. I was sitting on the porch steps scrolling through Instagram when he passed the first time. He looked at our house for a second, then kept going. Whatever. But then he came back. Same direction, about 10 minutes later. Then again. By the 4th time, I started counting. I told my dad, who was inside sorting through the leftover candy like he does every year. He came out, looked down the street, didn't see anyone. "Probably looking for his kid," he said. "You know how Halloween is." But that didn't make sense. If you're looking for your kid, you don't just keep walking past the same house over and over. The 7th time he passed, it was almost 10. The street light near our driveway lit him up pretty good. He slowed down right at the edge of our property. Just stood there for like 5 seconds, then walked away. My dad locked up around 10:30. I helped him bring in the decorations, and honestly, I was tired. I'd been up since 6 that morning for an exam. I crashed in my old bedroom around 11. The next morning, I woke up late. My mom had already left for work. My dad was doing his usual Saturday thing, drinking coffee and reading news on his iPad at the kitchen table. I made myself some cereal. We were out of milk, so I had to eat it dry, which was annoying as hell. That's when I remembered our doorbell camera. We got it installed last spring after someone stole packages off the Martinez's porch next door. I pulled up the app on my phone just to see if that guy came back. And fuck. There he was. Timestamp said 2:47 a.m., standing at the end of our driveway, not moving, just staring at the house. I watched the whole thing. 11 minutes. He didn't move except to shift his weight a couple times. The camera angle wasn't great because of how our porch light hits it at night, but I could zoom in a little. That's when I saw it. He was holding something, a piece of paper. I zoomed in more. The quality got grainy, but I could make out numbers. Our house number, written in black marker on white paper. I showed my dad immediately. He called the police. They came by around noon, took a copy of the footage, asked us questions. The officer said they'd patrol our street more often, but there wasn't much they could do since technically he didn't trespass or threaten us. That should have been the end of it. 3 days later, my mom texted me at school. Someone had been in the backyard. She found the loose fence panel behind the shed. We've known about that panel for years. It pops out sometimes when the wind gets bad. But this was different. There were cigarette butts on the ground near my bedroom window. Fresh ones. And scratches on the window screen. Like someone tried prying it open. The police came back. took photos, filed another report. They checked with neighbors, looked through Ring camera footage from nearby houses. Nothing. No one matching his description lived in our neighborhood. I don't go home alone anymore. My parents installed better locks and motion lights everywhere. But sometimes late at night, I still open that Doorbell app and scroll through the footage just to make sure no one's standing there. Because I keep thinking about those 11 minutes. What was he doing? Just, watching? Planning something? I never found out. And honestly, that's what scares me most. I never believed those scary Halloween stories people share online. But last year, working the closing shift at my job in a quiet Walmart in Portland, Oregon, something happened that still wakes me up sweating. It started normal, but ended with me questioning if I'd make it home alive. Let me tell you what went down. Hey, my name's Riley Thompson. I'm just a regular 24-year-old trying to pay bills. Back then, I worked at that Walmart on the edge of town, near the highway. It's one of those big stores with endless aisles, fluorescent lights that buzz like angry bees. I usually did day shifts, stocking shelves or helping at checkout. But on Halloween night, my boss begged me to cover for someone who called out sick. Extra cash sounded good, even if it meant closing alone at 11 p.m. The store was dead quiet most of the evening. Kids had come earlier for candy, but by 9 it was just me in the empty parking lot outside. I remember munching on a stale granola bar from my bag during my break. It tasted like cardboard, but I was hungry after skipping lunch. The radio played some old pop songs, crackling through the speakers. Outside it was cold, freezing really, with that Oregon rain drizzling down. I kept glancing at the windows, seeing my reflection staring back like a ghost. Weird how stores feel bigger when empty. Around 10:30, I started my closing routine. Turned off some lights in the back, counted the registers. My feet ached from standing all day. I thought about my cat, Whiskers, waiting at home. He always knocks over his water bowl when I'm late, making a mess on the kitchen floor. Little things like that crossed my mind. Then, at 10:53, the automatic doors whooshed open. In walked this guy. Tall, maybe in his 40s, wearing dirty work clothes, like jeans caked in mud and a jacket that smelled faintly of oil when he got closer. He had a backpack slung over one shoulder. Where's the Halloween masks?" he asked, his voice rough, like he hadn't talked all day. I pointed to aisle 12, the seasonal stuff. "Over there, sir. But we're closing soon." He nodded but didn't move right away. Just stood there, sweating, beads of it on his forehead, even though the AC was blasting cold air. It made me pause. Why sweat in this weather? And he kept glancing up at the security cameras, like they were watching him personally. My gut twisted a bit. Not like fear, just uneasy. I shook it off, figured he was just some last-minute shopper. I watched from behind the counter as he wandered to the aisle. He picked up masks one by one, a clown one, then a zombie. Pulled each over his head, stared at himself in that tiny mirror hanging there. On and off, slow-like. His hands shook a little. I pretended to organize receipts, but kept an eye on him. The clock ticked loud in my head. 10:55 now. Finally, he grabbed a plain white mask, the kind with no features, just blank. Creepy choice, but whatever. He came to the register, dumped it on the conveyor. Paid with a wad of crumpled bills, 1s and 5s, all messy. I counted them twice, my fingers sticky from the money. "That'll be $8.99, I said. He mumbled something like, "Thanks," but didn't look at me. As I bagged it, my phone buzzed in my pocket. I pulled it out quick, a news alert from the local app. Armed robbery suspect at large in Portland area. Last seen on foot near Cascade Shopping Center. Considered dangerous. Shit. My heart skipped. The shopping center, that's where we were. I glanced up and he was frozen, staring at his own phone. Same alert, I could tell from the glow on his face. Our eyes met. His were wide, panicked. Time stretched weird then. He snatched the bag, turned, and walked fast toward the doors. Not running, but close. "Have a good night," I called out weak, my voice cracking. Doors slid shut behind him. I bolted them manual, hands shaking bad. Called 911 right away. "There's a guy who just left. I think he's the robber from the news." Cops showed up 15 minutes later. 2 officers, flashlights sweeping the lot. I showed them the register tape, described him. They checked the parking lot cameras, the ones outside. Turns out, he'd been out there for 40 minutes before coming in. Pacing near the windows, watching me inside. His face clear in the footage. Matched the suspect photo exactly. Same build, same clothes. They searched the area, but he was gone. Vanished into the night. I drove home shaky, locked every door. That blank mask. Why buy it? To hide later? I don't know. Police said I did right calling, but they never caught him. Not that I heard. Now every Halloween, I avoid late shifts. And when the store gets quiet, I hear that buzzing light again in my head. Wonder if he's still out there watching somewhere. Makes me check my locks twice. Crazy how one night changes you. I almost died at a rest area on Halloween. I was a traveling nurse driving from Phoenix to Cleveland. It was 3 a.m., lonely, and something had put tiny shoes in the dark to make me walk into a trap. My name is Riley Hart. I drive between cities for work. That night I was exhausted. I stopped at a rest area on I-40. I told myself a break. I needed the bathroom and a cup of coffee. The lot was empty except a big blue semi in the far corner. The lights were weak. The vending machine hummed. The restroom sink dripped. I grabbed cheap coffee and walked back to the car. Then I saw one red shoe near a picnic table. I thought maybe it was a prop. A few steps later, I found the other shoe. Dirty. Not Halloween. My hands got cold. I made a bad choice and called 911 while I stood there. I got back in my car. Doors locked, engine on. I kept the line open with dispatch. I watched the rest area in my rearview mirror. The semi's door opened and a man stepped out. He moved careful, like he didn't want sound. He walked toward the picnic tables where the shoes were. He crouched and touched something. Then he looked up. He saw me. For a second, he stared straight at my car. I could see him in the mirror. He started walking my way. He did not hurry. He was steady. I panicked. I hit reverse and left quick, still talking to the dispatcher. My tires squealed. I drove 2 miles to a bright gas station and waited. Police came about 15 minutes later. 2 squad cars. 2 officers that looked worn but sharp. I told them every little thing. They went back to the rest area and searched the truck. Later, they told me what they found. Children's clothes, small shoes, little toys, hair clips, bits of bracelets. They also found restraints, a pile of items from different places. The driver had no good answer. He kept saying he was a long-haul driver and didn't know. The cop said the shoes were placed on purpose to lure someone into the darker part where the other bathroom was. He said the driver had been watching from his cab, waiting for someone to walk alone. He told me plainly that if I had walked out 5 minutes later, I wouldn't be calling anyone. I remember small things from after. My cat Moose walked across the creaky floorboards when I got home. I burned toast, trying not to think. The microwave beep felt loud. Normal sounds felt too big. I replayed the night and felt stupid for tiny choices. I should have parked under the light. I should have kept driving. I blamed myself for a long time. The police said they found items that belonged to kids from different states. They kept some details out of what they told me. I asked questions, wanted names, wanted to know how many. They wouldn't say much. The driver was taken in. The rest area looked like any other place on the map, and that made it worse. Something ordinary used as a trap. Sometimes I think of how quiet he was, how patient, how he sat in that truck and watched brake lights and reflections. I picture the shoes lined up like a breadcrumb trail. I picture him placing them and waiting until someone felt sorry, or curious, or just tired enough to walk over. People say I was lucky. A cop said, "You did the right thing calling." That is what people tell you to make sense of it. The truth is luck mixed with fear. My hands still shake at odd times. When I stop at a highway exit, I check the back seat twice. I take the well-lit pump. I call a friend when I must get out of the car at night. I still drive nights. I still work. I try not to think about the kids' things in that truck. I try not to think about what was not explained. There is no neat ending. No clear reason why a truck would carry so many small items. No tidy closure. All I know is the shoes, the blue semi, the way he looked up and walked toward my car. I know the dispatcher who kept me talking, the officer who later said I had saved myself by minutes. I know the little details that stick, like the vending machine hum and the way the sink dripped. If you drive alone at night, please park where light hits your car. Keep your doors locked. Call someone if you feel weird. Sounds like small rules. They are not heroic. They are the dumb things that keep you breathing. I am still here because I pressed call and because I drove off. It could have been different. I remember the shoes, and when I close my eyes at night, I can still see them in that yellow light, waiting.